I'm going to show you some projects done by previous students and just so that you can have some inspiration. Maybe you'll get some ideas of something that you can do for your final project. The first group is portrait series, and I'm showing you the work of Roman. Roman was a student a couple of years ago. She had quite a unique specialty, and that was to do really amazing makeup. She was very good at it, and she also did lighting and some amazing Photoshop work. Now, I'm not saying you have to do something this complicated, but I think you'll enjoy looking at it. This is a self-portrait with daughter series. It's a fantasy series with each image representing a state of being, and she did all the makeup as well as the Photoshop work. So some is makeup and some is post-production. So they're all very unique. Some are similar in poses, but always the makeup and the hair and the design is very different from the other. I thought this was pretty special. Jason did a self-portrait series based on emotional states of mind. He was very good at pre-visualizing the idea and using very interesting materials or environment for each of the images. And I don't believe his lighting was complicated at all. I'm not even sure it was really like official studio lighting. It could have just been like clamp lights that you buy at Home Depot. Now, this is also a self-portrait series, and I have to put this in here because Olivia did a very unique project, and she calls it twins, but really she's photographing herself and then combining them. So again, remember this was done kind of in the middle of COVID, so the idea of what's happening to people at this time was very important. But I thought this was pretty great. Not an easy thing to do, well thought out. And the Photoshop work was also quite excellent. So we're going to change the direction to more to a documentary style body of work. This was done by Callie, and then it's very simple concept, but it's just a day in the life of a quarantine family with young children. I like that she decided to show it in black and white because there's something very kind of gritty but kind of timeless about it. I thought it was very sweet. Well, and also I think removing the color takes away any kind of visual distraction that it might have, and we can just focus on the subjects. But I thought she caught this idea of, the sweetness of the family and sometimes the chaos of what's going on. Anyone who has children can probably relate to these images. So if you decide to do documentary, it doesn't have to be some kind of profound subject. It can be something that is very close to you, and it's part of your family or your friends, or something that you spend a lot of time doing is completely fine. This is a product series done by Casey, and she was a Vans tennis shoe lover. She had several pairs, but she also worked for Vans, and so Vans loaned her some shoes to photograph. So she just put the shoes on different colored paper backgrounds. She did a very simple soft lighting. She went to the 99-cent store and got candy that kind of matched the color of the shoe, and then so some of the candy was placed in the original image, and some of the candy was photoshopped in post-production. I thought this was really cute. In fact, I even recommended that she show them to the people that she worked for, because I thought maybe Vans would be interested in using some of these images. This series was done by Patty. Patty had an interest in food, but she was inspired by an Italian photographer who combines food with miniature people, and so she sent away for all of these miniature people and props, and then she just used colored construction paper for the background. I believe she just had a flash that she bounced into the ceiling, so it's very soft light. And so really there's not any cooking that's done in this, and no preparation of food. So she's basically using, for example, the broccoli as trees. So shot with a macro lens, and as you know, as you get really close to things, you have a very shallow depth of field. So that was a big concern for her, is getting the focus in the right place and enough depth of field that we can see what's going on. But I thought it was very, very clever what she did with the food and the little people that she bought online. And these are tiny people. I mean, they have to be placed with tweezers. This is Erica. Erica was very interested in fashion, and so this was done during, I don't know, a year ago. So she was interested in Madonna and kind of 90s fashion and kind of retro. So she had a few friends took to maybe to downtown LA. I'm not sure. You do not have to go to downtown LA to get this kind of background. You just have to know where the murals and the graffitied walls are. But it's very nice. You can see it's just available light. It's very soft light, so an overcast day. And she just has some basic changes of clothing and hair. So here you see it's the same model. And really, nothing's been changed except her hair. The clothing is all the same. So if you want to do fashion, you can certainly do that. You can use outdoor available light. This was done by Marisol, also last year. She titled this series All Dressed Up and Nowhere to Go. I thought it was very clever and very well done. So it's one model inside a home, either hers or her friend's home. It's kind of fashion, but it's kind of a commentary on COVID. Oops, let me go back the other direction. And so here it is. You kind of get the idea of this very beautiful woman all dressed up and just home by herself. This is Donald. He was interested in doing more of a documentary style photography, but we would almost maybe call this street photography. So street photography would be okay. If that's something you like to do. So this is Chinatown, so we called it Empty Chinatown. Now we see empty spaces like here, and this is downtown. This is in downtown LA, but some of the spaces there would not be a person there because we're looking upward, but still there's just a sense of kind of emptiness around these images, and they're quite colorful because the Chinatown is very colorful. And I think it does convey kind of an isolation feeling. And then I've gathered some images of some students. This is not one photographer. These are students who did some COVID-themed images for their final project. And so the idea, this was a COVID-themed group of pictures. And I thought, generally speaking, these were fairly successful. And I think you can do a series. Now, this would be harder to do today, of course, because cars are back on the road. But if you wanted to do a documentary theme around COVID or a documentary theme around something else, it's completely fine. So it's really up to you. I encourage creativity. I'm looking for something fun. And remember, it doesn't have to be complicated. If you make wonderful pictures about a very simple subject, that's almost as good, or probably sometimes even better, than having a very complicated project where you just can't quite get it done or it doesn't look exactly the way you thought. Go for something put an interesting twist on it, and work hard on your images, shoot a lot, and I'm sure you'll have a very successful final project.